Hello, beautiful world. Everything is relative, which means everything is continually impacting on everything else around it. So it's like this infinite cause and effect relationship just constantly going out. Permaculture principle. Everything is relative. So this means that solutions that work for you in your site, your location, how you want to live, your lifestyle, your environment, whatever that is, might be different to how I'm doing it with my environment, in my lifestyle, with my priorities. And so it's different. Everyone's garden is going to be different. Everyone's lifestyle is going to be different. What we want to share and what we want to have in common as permaculturists is that we want to care for people. We want to care for the earth that sustains people. And the way that we can do that is by making sure that there's a balance between human interactions and nature. And and we're a part of that nature. So understanding that we're a part of that nature and living as one with the nature around us, understanding that if that nature suffers, if that nature gets degraded, we get degraded. And if we take that on board, well, then that's for us individually. Then we can rationalize and we can make up as many, we need to learn that path and we need to start living in that way. But it's not up to me to tell you how you need to plant out or do, because your situation is relevant to you, and it is situational to what your outcomes and what you're trying to achieve is. So in speaking about that, gilding comes up a lot, like what to plant with what, right? Like how do you know what to plant with what? So gilding is completely subjective to what it is that you want to achieve and the kind of system that you want to develop, and the time of resources and everything that you have to put in. So behind me I have Panama Berry, and Laura asked what would I recommend for a Panama Berry guild. So thank you for the question, Laura. Keep asking questions so that I get motivated to do videos. And underneath I have arrowroot. Now arrowroot's on the southern side. It has these nice big leaves and it can capture the sun quite well. But the other thing being on the southern side is that in summer the sun angle is very much overhead. So on the southern side it still gets plenty of sun for the summer. So in summer they grow up and you can see they look pretty healthy. So this is a bulbous plant, and this could be used really good as edging, so stopping grass from coming through, so helping you manage your edge, because you can see that it's kind of clumps up and thick and you can't really get through. But what else you could grow under here would really depend on the location of the plant. We also have then gooseberries that are popping up under here. This is Cape gooseberries. This is kind of an annual plant that self-seeds and keeps popping up, and that is at home under our Panama Berry. Now, we don't really have much other crops here that you would harvest for food. What we have is like alligator weed, and we have like a blackshade berry, and we also have like an indoor, whatever that plant is called. And it's getting pretty jungly under here, because then we have like seedlings coming up, birds eating berries and that kind of stuff, so you get lots of seedlings coming up under trees. But we have then, you see, curry leaf popping up right underneath, and we also have native frangipani popping up right underneath, and we also have passion fruit vine that is growing up and potentially making its way on this Panama Berry, or at least it's attempting to do so. And so that's what we have under there. Now, why do we have it under there? Because we're lazy, and well, not really. We're just not really cropping that area for anything else. So those plants are really beautiful for just keep building the soil. And I've got 2 acres here, and I'm still just growing, and I still got space, and I'm still doing other stuff, so I can just drop that back whenever I want, and I can plant other species in when I get up to it. So for me, it's just kind of sitting there, and that's a guild. But then, like, what's an end-term guild that you would have? Well, it depends. Are you going to prune your strawberry tree? Because my strawberry tree is kind of on a canopy, or it could be even an emergent with the size of it. It goes up quite large. So then what else, like what other little shrubs or so could I have around it? And so I have pigeon pea on the outsides of it. So there's a shrub layer to it. Well, what then herbaceous plants can I have around this? And we could see that I had some of these ground covers are herbaceous, and the arrowroot are herbaceous. So these are all herbaceous plants that I can have around. So what herbs can I have around? Ground covers. These kind of do same kind of functioning, the ground covers. So you're just kind of looking for plants that are offering different qualities. You want plants that like kind of shade underneath a shady tree. So put in a mint or Brazilian spinach that can handle the shade under it. Towards the edges, you're getting a little bit more sun. So maybe like turmeric can be planted where you're getting a little bit more sun. You could put some lemongrass around where you're getting a little bit more sun. You could put sweet potato under them. So there's lots and lots and lots of different plants that we could use in guilds. I guess the main thing is that we want to understand is that there's different layers in the guilds and there's different functions in the guilds. So in a guild, we have like a pollinating plant or plants that, generally support pollinators. So we want to kind of keep things flowering. So even though our tree might not be in flower, our fruit tree or whatever it is, we want to have something in the area that's flowering, because if we don't maintain the flowers for the insects, they're going to ditch us, right? So we want to keep something in flower for the pollinators. We want to keep something that we can maintain the edge with. So those bulb plants that can stop the penetration of one ecotone into another, from the grassland into the forest. That grass we can stop down that flow when we're trying to create another environment, and we can put these arrowroots and these bulbous plants all around the edges to stop that flow through. So we've got edge plants, border plants. Then we also we don't want to do all the pest control. So then do we have plants that can help attract predators? So predators have certain type of plants that they like the flowers of, and that they need certain habitats too for nesting and building and raising their young. So have you got plants that can support that aspect of it? Soil, you want to protect the soil. You don't want to have bare soil where rain and erosion can take place. So we want plants with roots in there holding the soils down. We want to cover the ground as much as we possibly can. So ground covers. Then we want to bring up nutrients that is down low. So we want nutrient accumulators or plants that have big leaves that we can drop down, so that all that nutrition in that leaf we can put back into the soil, and we can keep recycling that soil. We also, being that permaculture is a human kind of ecology, that we're looking at human and human life, we want plants that then attract humans out there. So maybe a blueberry at the edge, right? That we want to get some kind of excitement, something that you love, something that would get you out in the garden, something that would get you walking there. Because if it's not something that attracts you and gets you out there, then you're not going to use it. And well, in a food forest that's designed for human and human interaction, we want you to use it. So what's something that will get you out there? So you can see that in a guild, there's different elements and they're all playing a function. So I'll put a link to a description that shows different kind of functions that you can think about in guilds, but also thinking about how to layer. So gilding and layering kind of go hand in hand. Gilding is kind of the function of what it is that why you're planting that plant. And layering is kind of the habit that forms the basis of why that function would be that function in the first place, or helps to give us a little bit more information on that function. So working on those information together, like a pollinating plant, well, you need a pollinating plant, but you got to look at the layers. Where's your space for pollinating plants? That kind of thing. So just team it up, join it up, connect it up, and understand that someone's guild does not have to be your guild, and that it's completely personal to what you use and how you use it. And more importantly, it's just about testing and having fun and trying and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work. So I hope that answered your question, Laura. I wouldn't really recommend any particular plants, as opposed to going through and experimenting and trying for yourself, and bearing in mind that you want to have diversity under your plants, of plants doing different interactions and requiring different needs, so that they're not competing with each other. So one's a shallow root, one's a deep root, one's a sun lover, one's a shade lover, that kind of thing. not to those extremes potentially. This is just for educational purposes. But I hope that you get some help from this video, and by all means comment below with questions and let me know, like reach out so that I can keep sharing whatever it is that I can share, so that we can all live in this natural abundance that is life. And don't forget, be naturally abundant, right? If you can be, why wouldn't you want to be, right? So thank you very much for watching. You have a lovely day. Bye.